Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living right here in beautiful Fullerton, California. Thank you all for joining us here today in person and also online. My name is Tomoko Rosas and I'm a practitioner here at the center. Please join me in stating our purpose statement. We are a loving spiritual community, empowering all to live healthy and successful lives through practicing the principles of science of mind. So, a few announcements before we get started. Big thank you to all who attended our beloved friend Bill Engel's memorial service yesterday. And special thank you to all who stayed back to clean up and set up the church yesterday. And Colleen sends her love and gratitude to everyone. All right, today we have a wonderful guest speaker, Reverend Sunshine Daye, and Reverend Bill will be introducing her right before she speaks. And next week, Maggie Rintara, RScP, will be here as guest speaker. Mark your calendars, Sizzling Summer Raffle is scheduled for Sunday, September 28th. That is the last Sunday of September. And we will have the displays and tickets available. We're doing a lot of catch-up work right now. So we had so many different events going on. And new shipments of books came in and they are at a special price. So please see me after service if you like some of those books. And Wednesday's spiritual support group is ongoing at 1 p.m. as you all know, and all are welcome. Unexpected Income Club is doing great, as you can see on the board, and we are getting very close to our goal amount. So I will cut it right there, stop right there, and I'll pass it on to Jennifer and Richard.
I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When this old world starts to push and shove me, I need to be still and let God love me.
And as we come together this morning, we recognize the presence of God, divine love that is right here within each one of us. And we know that we are united with this power, this spirit, and we are also one with each other. We know that God within is our infinite source of love, joy, creativity, and health. And together we celebrate our oneness this morning, knowing that this service is whole, perfect, and complete, filled with blessings of love, healing, and prosperity for each of us. And we bless everyone who has made this service possible for us to enjoy, knowing that we each are filled with divine spirit today. And we welcome our guest speaker, Reverend Sunshine Daye. We know she's an inspiration and a living testimony of faith and healing, and we love having her here. We are grateful for this day, this wonderful service, and the divine energy expressed in each person around the room. And so it is. Good morning, everybody. I'm Carol Riseling, a practitioner here at our center. And I found a reading today from a book I got years ago. And it was written by Reverend Jane Claypool. And she was the pastor at the Center for Positive Living in Carlsbad for many years. And this is from her book, Science of Mind Skills. And this is called Rags to Riches. You are always in a transformational mode. You are always changing, growing, and evolving into someone new, different and wonderful. You are never stuck. When I was a beginning writing student, I was taught that every story is a variation of the Cinderella theme. And as a minister, I have learned that there is undiscovered promise in each one of us. Writers know that the main character must be transformed in order to have a story. As humans, we sense that the true plots of our lives circle around transcendence and transformation. No matter how ordinary we look to others, we know the truth. Our lives are rich with promise and pregnant with dreams. We are all Cinderella. At a very central level, we know ourselves as fledgling butterflies. We dream of achieving great riches, great honors, and great love. I believe our dreams persist because they are based on spiritual truths which cannot be denied. There are more variations of Cinderella than any other Western folktale because transformation is so central to our lives. The ability to change and grow is the basis of all religions. Our lives are spiritual journeys of transformations. Even the most casual moviegoer must notice that most stories are transformational journeys. Pretty Woman was a modern version of Cinderella. But for that matter, so was Dances with Wolves, Gypsy, and Fried Green Tomatoes. The first step in transformation is to make the decision to change. Once you have a vision of the direction you would like to go, begin to see yourself as already having arrived. Stop huddling in the cinders and feeling sorry for yourself. You are not trapped. Step out and enjoy the dance of life. Start sparkling and begin to change your thinking. Transformation is an inside job, and waiting for Prince Charming is a waste of time. You are not only your own Cinderella, you are also Prince Charming, capable of action, and your own fairy godmother. Your mind has the power. God wants you to succeed, and you were put on this earth to express life abundantly. And now please join me in prayer. Just knowing and sensing that divine, infinite love indwells within each one of us. We are connected to a larger life, which is always changing, always growing, and always guided in every step with life itself. And we live and move and have our being in this life. And we move forward knowing that our life is a result of the choices we made, and that the choices we made are a result of our beliefs. So now we can change our beliefs and change our life. I radiate now health, vitality, success, and joy. And I thank divine intelligence for guiding me every step of the way. And I release this prayer into the law, knowing it is already done. And so it is.
whoever we think we are, wherever we think we're headed, wherever we're going through right now. There's a truth behind it all, about the stuff we're really made of. And that greatest truth of all is that in His image God has made us. And if that's true, just think about what it means for me and you. God is light, and so are we. God is love, and so are we. God is life, and so are we. It's truth that cannot be denied. God is power, and so are we. God is peace, and so are we. God is beauty and joy, and so are we. That's the truth of ourselves and the truth of all mankind. Light cuts through the darkness of our lives. Love unites us all as one. Life is a gift we share and cherish every day. Peace is our heartfelt prayer, and joy is found most everywhere. Power is the knowledge that our precious dreams will always find their way. And beauty is in every rock and flower, every living thing and every passing hour. God is light, and so are we. God is love, and so are we. God is life, and so are we. It's truth that cannot be denied. God is power, and so are we. God is peace, and so are we. God is beauty and joy, and so are we. That's the truth of ourselves and the truth of all mankind. Thank you. Thank you.
That's Jennifer Hart. Come on. And Richard Ahara. Just thinking about our guest speaker today, Reverend Sunshine Daye, my friend and colleague, who truly comes to us bringing that enlightenment that all of us just yearn to hear and to experience and to be a part of. And you know, speaking of movies, as Carol was, there's a line in a movie that says, without change, without transformation, we wouldn't have butterflies. But today, we have the most beautiful butterfly of all. The transformed Sunshine Daye into Reverend Sunshine Daye. And she, when she speaks, she's like the rest of us. She uses her mouth, but it's only because she has to, because the speaking comes from the heart, comes from the soul. It's truly that divine inspiration channeled through this person and radiating out to us. So, help me thank in advance and honor our speaker this morning, Reverend Sunshine Daye.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Hello, beloveds. Hello. It is my absolute joy to be here today and to simply share my life with you in hopes, and not even in hopes. I trust that there's something said today, whether it was in the beautiful music that we hear and that we've heard, whether it was in the prayer by our practitioner or the welcome by our other practitioner or any part of this service, that there is something here that lifts and moves and inspires you to live your divine life, to live that genuine expression, to recognize, to understand, to go deeper into knowing that there is nothing, absolutely no thing that separates you from God. Now, in many, many religious cultures, to speak something like that is blasphemous. And what I've learned is that it was called blasphemy in order to keep us small, in order to keep us from actually knowing and experiencing and living our power and our truth. For as it has already been said, that we are made in the image and likeness of spirit. So either that's true or it isn't. If I am made in the image and likeness of the divine expression of the most powerful, brilliant, unique, and unrepeatable life that there is, then what does that make me? It makes me that. And what does that make you? It makes you that as well. And yet, that is the thing that we forget the most. Everybody do this with me. Put your hand flat on and then put it on your forehead and then swipe like you're erasing something. That's sign language for forget. Forget. We forget the truth of who we are. And it's to that extent that I want to speak today, in particular about struggle, from struggle to serenity, and finding the treasure in the dark. And it's a twofold conversation in that spirit is indeed all there is. Like scripture says, or like many, many religious traditions believe and trust, that if in the beginning there was God and only God, Allah, Spirit, Mother, Father, Sky, whatever it is that religions call this higher power, this sense, if in the beginning there was it and only it, then it could only create out of itself. And if it is also true that God said, "Let there be light," well, what was there before? Many times we claim to be the light, and what was there before the light was no light. And the no light is still God. We might call it darkness. We might call it the dark night of the soul, or the struggle that was so beautifully read about the struggle of transformation and the hero's journey. And so how do we go? How do we travel from that struggle to serenity? How do we entertain that part of our remembering the truth of who we are comes with this human experience of struggle, or doubt, or fear, or challenges, or trouble. And it is indeed by going into the darkness, meaning shutting out the world of effects, by going back to that original center and dark, like that caterpillar that is in the chrysalis, in the dark, transforming, like a seed is in the deep and the depths of the soil, in the darkness, where it does its transformation of that seed cracking open to reveal and then to grow into its great oakness or its great lily or its great whatever it is that is in that seed, whether it's an apple tree or an orange tree or a plant. So many times we shun or shush away the darkness as if it is something bad. And yet it is in the darkness that we do our transformation, that we grow, that we unfold, and where spirit is revealed. And then it comes into what God created as light. But the light and the dark are the same to spirit. There's no good and bad in light and dark. And as we begin to recognize that for ourselves, then it's not so scary to actually experience the struggle or the experience necessary for the transformation. Now, I'll share with you that I was scheduled to speak here last September, as some of you may know, and maybe some of you don't know. And in that time, I experienced a physical challenge, a struggle. I had a pinched nerve in my back, and that pinched nerve radiated electricity down my left leg, and I was bent over like this because the electrical shocks were so strong that as I tried to stand up, it was even stronger, and I felt relief in the bend. And mind you, I hadn't been in the hospital since I was a teenager. And I was hospitalized for 5 days. I didn't know I couldn't drive, I couldn't step into the tub to shower. It was difficult trying to cook. And in that challenge, in that struggle, I thought to myself, well, daggone it, you've been a great religious scientist. You know this stuff. You pray, you meditate, you read the books, you speak. You know, you're even sober 37 years at the time. It was 37 years of sobriety. You don't drink, you don't do drugs, you don't hurt people. WTF? Why the face? And it was in that challenge, in that struggle, if you will, that I too had to embrace, this is some downtime. This is life telling me, sit down, shut up, be still, meditate, go within, uncover and discover so that ye may be transformed. And so I did. There was one day in the hospital, I had no visitors. I was super grateful. Trying to entertain people when I'm in pain is not a pretty sight. And it was there that I went into a deep, day-long meditation, with the exception of when we need more blood. We need to do this test. Here's your food. When there was no one there, I just quietly asked Spirit, that indwelling power and presence, to reveal to me that which was necessary, not only for my own healing, but for the transformation. What do I need to release? What do I need to embrace? What is the grand divine idea for me? Where am I still believing in separation? Even after getting home, doing the same thing over and over again. And my greatest discovery was simply this: I still had this belief deep down within that in order to prove my worth, I had to be a beneficial presence in your life. That in order to breathe the same air that you breathe, that I had to add value to you in order to be valuable, to be sitting and being in community. That I had to go above and beyond, that there was still some idea, some residue, some remnants of this old idea that I had to perform in order to simply be. That's a harsh truth to uncover. That my value came by my performance or my doing, and where I had to come to was that in that spiral of my own evolution and transformation, is that by simply being and breathing, that one more time, when you see me, you see the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent way that spirit shows up in human form. That I don't have to perform or speak well or correctly or be a good little kid. I remember the flash of me being this, my first grade teacher, Miss Flaherty. Mind you, I'm in my 60s and I'm still remembering my first grade teacher's name, right? So that tells you what seed was planted there. She would call me a chatterbox. No. And that was a bad thing. Because I'd sit in the back of the room and I'd be just a chatterbox. And I remember telling her, I'm not going to be a chatterbox anymore. And I would sit like this and not allow myself to fully express. And somewhere in there was that learning that I had to perform in order to be approved of or valuable. And that is simply not the truth. The truth of each of us is that right where you are, spirit is. And I had to learn that truth for myself in that moment of transformation, in that moment of struggle. And that oh, by the way, the one who is self-sufficient, and I've been on my own since I was 15, and I've worked hard, and I've earned this, and here's what's been provided for me because I worked for it. I needed to ask for help. Me. That struggle was that I was never asking for help. I was doing, being, growing, unfolding, right? Here's what Spirit's doing in my life, as my life, through my life. And sure enough, I'm growing and unfolding. And yet this last little piece of holdout was that, I get to ask for help. Not just in prayer, but I get to ask other human beings for help. What an order. I didn't want to do that. And I'm sure nobody here identifies with me, right? Thank you. And so even today, my quote-unquote struggles are not as big or major. But even when I have decisions to make, and this may relate to you, whether it's about health care, or where you're going to live, or whether you are in favor of this or not in favor of that. Whatever it is that your struggles are, how can we begin to look at these particular struggles as not something that is happening to us, but something that is happening for us? I don't know if I've shared this story here before, but it rings so true even in this moment. There was a farmer who had a lot of land, and he had a dry well. And that dry well was just sitting there, and he had intended on filling it, but he never really got around to it. And one day, one of his donkeys fell in the well. Well, this well was very deep, and this donkey was a little bit up there in age, not necessarily being a beneficial presence on his land, but he figured, well, the donkey's down there, I might as well just go ahead and fill up the well. I know, right? I hear you saying, oh. And so, sure enough, that farmer is getting soil and getting a shovel full and putting it in the well. And the donkey is kind of like looking up, like, for real, bro? But the donkey shakes it off and stomps on it. And sure enough, more dirt comes in, the donkey feels it on its back, it shakes it off, and it steps on it. And before you know it, as the farmer is filling up this well with the soil and the dirt, the donkey just keeps shaking it off and stepping on it until it reaches the surface and the donkey walks out. It's a plot twist, huh? Many of you were going, "Aw." And that's the key, is many of you thought, well, poor donkey's going to be buried alive. And when we think about our struggles, we think, daggone it, I'm going to be buried alive, or this thing will be the death of me, or this is such a hard struggle, I don't see a way out. And our teachings, our science of mind philosophy, encourages us to recognize that this is not happening to us, but it is happening for us. So what are the steps that you take? What are the steps that you take when you have a struggle, a dilemma, something before you that you think is going to bury you, but actually you're being planted and not buried, or that soil that is burying you, you shake off and step on it so that you too just continue to rise and rise and then walk away from the situation. Today, I walked away from that situation of living a bent over life. And it happens by listening. It happens by recognizing that what we might call a realm of struggle is where we are still believing in confusion and separation, or we're being impatient. And it's part of our human makeup. We live in a realm of duality. We are spiritual beings and human beings. So we fall into that place of, oh yeah, I have to remember who I am. Because I forgot that I'm not separate from spirit. That spirit is living in, through, and as each and every one of us. But we're in victim consciousness, or in that realm of struggle, because we're believing in separation, that I'm separate from my good. And moving into a place of surrender, not surrender to lose, not waving that white flag and go, okay, you won, I lost. But that place of surrender within ourselves, that place that the caterpillar moves into, that place of surrender, says, okay, I'm willing to give up this crawling on the floor, and even though I was happy being on leaves and munching on leaves, I'm willing to let this go for something greater, this or something greater, is where we let go of control. Because truly, truly, we're never really in control. We have the illusion of being in control. And when we release life by me, meaning where I've created, oh, I manifested this, or oh, I manifested that, or yeah, I did this, I did that, been there, done that, right? And there's nothing wrong with it, because it shows us, and it really builds us up to know that there is a power and a presence in the universe that we can use for our good. This is what we're taught. And at some point in time, it can only go but so far, where we must ascend, where we must be transformed, where we must then say, wait a minute, if this is true and I let go of control, we move into a realm of serenity. That realm of serenity, or what is also known in our philosophy as the third and fourth kingdoms of consciousness, or the stages of consciousness or spiritual maturity, is where we move into life happens through me, that there is a power and a presence that is always, always seeking to express itself in its fullest. And if I take my little controlling hands off of the remote and allow spirit to live in, through, and as me, then I can experience serenity. What was so great was that in the reading, it alluded to just that. And I was like, well, I could just say, and so it is, and sit down, because I'm going to say pretty much the same thing. However, I've used my life example as that. And you can begin to use your life example as that. So if there's something that you're struggling with currently, I invite you to just simply close your eyes for 2 minutes. And just breathe naturally and normally, and feel yourself right here, right now. Now, bring to mind this area of your life where you're seeking some guidance, something that you would like clarity about. It can be something that you think is super big, or something that is super small. There's no big and small in God. And if you can just simply answer these questions to yourself, like you're speaking gently to that power and presence that is within you, as you bring to mind this situation that you need clarity on, what do you truly desire in this situation? For me, my true desire was simply to be healthy again, to play pickleball, to walk, to be able to do the activities of daily life. So for your situation, what is it that you truly desire? And don't be afraid to think big. Don't be afraid that it's too small or too big. Just, what is that desire in that situation? Like, what would be the ultimate answer or clarity that you're seeking? And what would be the this or something better? What would be the this or something better? And if I truly, truly trusted Spirit, infinite intelligence, if I truly trusted Spirit, what would I release right now? For me, I had to release the idea that I could do it all by myself, and that I didn't need help, and that I could ask for help. If you truly trusted Spirit completely for your situation, what would you release right now? And take another deep breath, slowly. And gently, gently move into a place of gratitude, not because you got the answer, but because the answers are still coming. And gently open your eyes. We have scientific prayer, we have meditation, and spiritual practices like visioning, and simple steps like this, simply pausing and not trying to figure it out ourselves with the brain. The brain tries to fill in blanks, but mind you, the brain doesn't even have eyes of its own. It uses our eyes and our ears and our nose and our sense of feel. But that indwelling Spirit, that is that energetic that has created everything, therein lies the answers. And to the degree in which we release the intellect and trust Spirit and ask Spirit to reveal to us in a language that we understand what our next move is, we can be stuck in the struggle, or we can dive into the struggle, dive into that place of the rich darkness where the treasure lies, and simply be there for a spell, asking the questions and having revealed to us that which is our next step. And emerging from that, transformed. The only way we get to live in joy, which is the theme for the month, is when we recognize that there is no separation between the dark and the light, that they both are God. When we recognize that there is no separation between us and infinite Spirit, that we are the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent, perfect, and divine ways that Spirit shows up in human form. And when we begin to trust in that, and allow that to guide us, allow that Godness within us to be our guide. That is how we live in joy. Irrespective, sunshine, what's going on? You can't walk, or you haven't sold your house, or sunshine, this hasn't happened. Why are you so happy? Hello? Because I know the truth. That these things don't happen to me, that they happen for me, and that them happening for me is indeed that which is necessary to move me into living in joy and greater joy and greater joy. So, beloveds, don't be afraid of the dark. Don't be afraid of the struggle. Lean into it. And as Rumi says, invite it in and say, welcome. What is it that you're here to teach me? Thank you very much. Now go on out the door and live in joy. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate
you. This is our opportunity to share our good, that good that comes from God and only God, and it comes to each of us in its own unique way. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts here at the Fullerton Center for Spiritual Living for your continued support. And for those of you not supporting in the sanctuary, but from afar, thank you too. And let's just know that we bless these gifts, these tithes, these offerings, as we bless the givers, knowing that this goes forth to do its great work in our spiritual community, in the community at large, and indeed in the world, with no strings and no conditions. So it is.
I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. Oh, I feel joy, I feel peace, I feel goodness surrounding me. I feel love in every breath I breathe. I feel God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I feel perfection in what life brings. I feel God in everything. I know joy, I know peace, I know the goodness surrounding me. I know love in every breath I breathe. I know God in everything. I know happiness, I know freedom. I know the beauty that lives in me. I know perfection in what life brings. I know God in everything. Yes, I know God in everything. I know God in everything. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jennifer Hart and Richard O'Hara. Come on. Let's just know something together right here, right now. Something amazing is happening through me right now.
Something amazing is happening through me right now.
It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called love.
It's this thing called love.
It's this thing called transformation.
It's this thing called transformation.
I'm doing it.
I'm doing it.
Watch out, baby.
Watch out, baby.
Because world, here I come.
Because world, here I
The new me.
The new me.
God expressing in as in through me.
God expressing in and through me.
For better and better.
For better and better.
Thank you, God, in